Okay guys, so football season is back. A new English Premier League campaign is underway and the Castrol EPL Roadshow is hitting the road once again beginning 13th of August, covering various locations in Johor, Klang Valley as well as Penang. Now, if any of you guys have recently purchased Castrol lubricants from participating outlets, you can go to these roadshows, take part in a penalty contest, and you stand a chance to win Castrol merchandises that I'm listing here in the screen now. And also remember, during this period, if you purchase Castrol lubricants, you stand a chance to win an all expenses paid trip for two to the UK to watch an English Premier League game live at the stadium. Not in front of a TV, not at a bar, but in the stadium itself. So your next oil change could very well win you the experience of a lifetime. Good luck, and if you win, remember to jio me, okay? Hi guys. So right now I'm behind the wheel of a BMW E36, and no, this is not one of Tana's collections, but having driven this for a couple of days, I can kind of see why he's gotten so smitten by this car and ended up buying, I don't know, God knows, 5, 6, 7, I've lost count. So this particular example belongs to a customer who took advantage of one of our promos a couple of months back, bundling our Enduro cleaning package together with a with our seat reupholstering with DK Schweitzer. So that's why you see this one has these seats are this nice tan leather, beautiful color, great taste by this customer. So we have also helped the customer redo his upholstery, and a very interesting choice. He has specifically requested for the same type of fabric as used by the F10 M Sport. All right, so what you have here is that it's a very this interior now is a very nice two-tone shade, black with this tan leather contrast. Beautiful. Now mechanically, this example is a 2.5 liter straight 6 325i, all right, single one-os, all right, and it has a 5-speed manual transmission, and it's an absolute joy to drive, right? The engine it revs and pulls so beautifully, so eagerly, you know. And the thing is this, as I drive this car, right, there is one thing about this car that's, you know, after I clock some miles, right, there's a sense of familiarity to this car, even though I have never driven the E36 before this, but there was that sense of familiarity. It took me a while to put my finger into it, but I eventually realized that driving this car around reminded me very much of my old Waja. Yeah. So I guess Proton weren't kidding with the whole Asia's answer to BMW claim, because it feels like, as I drive this car, right, and I recollect back my old memories, there is the distinct impression that when Proton engineered the Waja, they very well could have benchmarked the car's dynamics against the E36, because the way it reacts, you know, the way the car responds to steering inputs, the immediacy of the steering, it's just so uncanny. Driving this car literally feels like driving a Waja with a nicer engine. And we have said this many times before, the biggest Achilles heel to the Waja has always been the lack of a properly good engine to exploit the chassis. Alright, and the E36 here, well, with a 2.5 liter straight 6 engine, none of those issues. Now, of course, this car has this particular example of car has received some tweaks here and there from the owner, but rest assured, these are all very, very tastefully done. The exhaust is a bit on the loud side, but it's not the droning kind of exhaust. And come on, when you have a straight six up front, the bass note is still a very pleasant one. All right. Another thing I really like about driving this car around is the short and precise throw of the gear changes. So in that sense, it also reminded me another aspect of the Waja, which is the nice throw of the gear changes. It's as if every gear change itself is a reward, right? I mean, I still remember when I had that car, I was looking for every excuse to change gears, you know, to just make that downshift, right? To heel and toe, like what I'm doing now. The sense of satisfaction when you pull it off, it's second to none. You know, it's the reason why, you know, as much as new generation automatics are objectively, you know, faster, more efficient than manuals, there are always the old school drivers amongst us who just appreciate the joy of rowing through a good old-fashioned manual transmission. The satisfaction of getting your gear change right, it's just utterly rewarding. Yeah. Okay. Now, the dynamics of this car. Firstly, I'm pretty sure this car is running on an aftermarket suspension setup, but there is still a good degree of pliancy built to the setup. It is, in other words, this is a road-friendly setup. All right, you can drive this car all day long and not worry about a stiff back. Okay. Not only that, I can do these gear changes all day long as well, just for the heck of it. You see, the E36 is also, it also comes from a time when the 3 Series really still was a compact sedan. The E46 as well, to an extent, also was a very compact a vehicle of compact proportions. It was only until the E90 that the 3 Series started to really grow in size. And speaking of the E46, now the E46 plays a very interesting role in the E36's appeal. Now let me explain why. You see, now for many years, right, in the 3 Series lineage, the E36 has always been overshadowed by the E30 and the E46. The E36 for many years has been something of a, you know, of a neither here nor there car. And for many years, the resale values of these cars were absolute crap. You can't have, you basically had your choice of car, you know, with a budget of 10-15,000 ringgit. You can practically get yourself, pick and choose any E36 in buy and drive condition. But the tables have kind of turned recently, because we noticed that finally E36 values have been steadily climbing up, and the appeal can be boiled down to a few factors. One, because for the longest time, the E36 is, like, you know, one of the most affordable entries into BMW ownership, into owning a rear-wheel drive sedan with sporty handling. All right, so and the thing is that even as values are beginning to escalate, you can still go shopping with a budget of, well, 15k now gets you only a 318i. You want a 6-cylinder 325 or 328, you've got to be prepared for at least 18, 20. Some guys are even asking for 25. All right, because the 6-cylinder models are the ones to go for, are the more sought after ones. Even though actually, at least according to Tana's testimony, it is the 4-cylinder 318i that has the nicer, sweeter handling because of the smaller engine up front. But ultimately, that all boils down to preference now. All right, so you can have your choice of your 318 or your 325 or your 328. There aren't that many 320s in our market. You can also get, there are also a small number of 323s. Now the 323i is actually a 2.5 liter M52 engine. Okay, so it is slightly detuned, outputs about 170 horsepower, and compared to the 325. The 325 was the 2.5 liter M50 engine with about 189 horsepower. Alright, the reason why the M50 to M52 engines there's a detune in power is because of emissions. Alright, BMW had to stifle the outputs of the M52 engine to get the engines to pass emissions. So a very common mod, if you have an E36 or an E39 with the M52 engine, you swap in M50 air intakes, you liberate a great deal of power from those engines. But we are digressing already. Now, coming back to the E36, right? Another central aspect to the E36 appeal is that the E36 to the E46 is not really a clean slate development. All right, there are a lot of E46 parts that are plug and play interchangeable to the E36. This car here, for example, has front brakes that are taken from the E46 330i, bigger size. The seats that I am on, actually, I've been told by the owner of the car, actually have been taken from the E46. And also, there are some examples of the E36 out there that are transplanted with the M54 engines from the E46. So it is that that upgradability, you know, of E46 parts into the E36 that also contributes greatly to the E36's appeal. And lastly, of course, the driving experience that the E36 offers is comparable to that of a modern car. You see, because basically, think about it, for continental car newbies, right? You come from a Myvi, you come from a City, you come from a Proton Saga. Basic cars, yes, but still has modern levels of refinement. You jump into an E30, all right? Let's assume you find one that you don't have to deal with rust problems also. The driving experience is very old school. Very old school, all right? A lot of things are still manual without electronics, but the E36, technologically wise, was such a big quantum leap from the E30, all right, that the overall feel, right, the feel of modernity is comparable to an early 21st century basic car. So if you're jumping up from, you know, an Econobox and you want to try your hands at a continental car, you want to try your hands at a basic BMW, you want to try your hands at a rear-wheel drive car, an E36 is not a big shock to the system. Okay guys, so here is our E36 project from the outside. This car began life as a 94 325i M50 engine. We open the bonnet later on. Owner has repainted it this beautiful shade of green, right, complete with 17-inch BBS wheels. This car originally was a silver car, all right, and owner has lavished a lot of love to do this car up to its present beautiful shape. As I've mentioned earlier in the video, right, the front wheels, okay, the front brakes rather, these are from the E46 330i, a very popular plug and play retrofit. All right, and this is the reason why E46 330i discs and calipers go for twice the price of E39 530i disc. You see, like my E39 over there is also sitting on enlarged discs taken from a 530i. Both my E39s run on 530i brakes, right? But that costs about maybe 1,000. If you're lucky, you can get it for 800, 1,000 plus. This bugger here, this disc here, is double the money. All right, not sure how much this owner got it for, but if you buy today, it's double the price of E39 530i discs. All right, so the interior, check this out. has been re-upholstered by us in collaboration with DK Leather, DK Schweitzer. So we've gotten this is a pure leather upholstery, all right, on the door card, with the door card plastic itself resprayed to black. Right over here as well, the seats, check it out. These are E46 seats, so we have reupholstered the entire seat, the armrest over there. All right, check out the rear seats. So you can see the rear door cards also have been reupholstered, resprayed. All right, the seat rear fully done up. Okay, now you notice that the seat belts are missing in this car. The E36 has the rear passenger belts mounted on from the middle, but they are buried behind the seat belt. Why? Because we found that the seat belt mechanism is jammed, so we cannot pull the seat belt down, and as a result, the owner for now will have to make do without the rear seats. Okay, quite uniquely, the seat belts run down from the middle, all right, and the buckle is at the side. This same design is also present in the E34 as well as the E32. So we have also done the roof lining of the E36. All right, it's now refinished in the same black fabric as requested by the owner, same as what you get in F10 M Sport trim. So the pillars is also finished in black. The B pillar, all right, is in its original color. C pillar is finished in black as well. Now, interesting bit about the E36 B pillar, it is one long plastic trim from top to bottom. All right, the whole thing top to bottom is plastic, and these things are getting costly to replace. Okay, I hear they go for about 700 ringgit in the used market for one. Yeah, and they break frequently. So to show you the engine, this is a 6-cylinder engine. Well, this appearance, this is the air intake of an M50, but it could just well be a BMW M52 as well. All right, what we do know is that this is a single Wanos engine. So when you see this this M50 series generation engines, right, this single bulge here, okay, this place is where the Wanos gear is housed. If you go later generation with the double Wanos engines in the E46 or the E39, this bulge grows all the way to this side, okay, because you have the Wanos on the intake side as well as on the exhaust side. But single Wanos engine, they only have the Wanos gear on the intake side. All right, now this is the air intake from the M50 engine, but it is just as popular for M52 engines, which is the later generation engines, to switch back to the older air intake. Why? Because the M52 engines, they operate on slightly restricted air intakes for the purpose of emissions. So that's why when BMW switched from the M50 to the M52, there was a drop in power. Okay, a 328i, an E36 328i with a 2.8 liter engine produces the same peak outputs as the M50 engine 325i 2.5. all right, that's why when they went with the M52 engines, the 2.5 liter models carried a 23i badge. So that's why you have the E36 323i, which is a 2.5, or the E39 523i, which is a 2.5. And then later on, of course, when the M52 engine was replaced with the M54, the 2.5 liter engines then were tuned higher to produce about 190 horsepower. If you are a fan of the BMW E36, or if you are looking, all right, for a basic, a starting point to go into continental car ownership, to go into a rear-wheel drive car, or to go into a BMW, the E36 is a great place to start. All right, their prices are going up, but they're still relatively affordable. The only challenge, the biggest challenge, however, with keeping these cars, thankfully not mechanical, all right, not structural. E36 does not have rusting issues like the E30, but you will have problems dealing with interior parts that basically are like biscuit, all right. They are brittle, right? They crack easily. But here's the thing, all right, a cracked A pillar, a cracked B pillar, it's an eyesore, but it's not something that puts you on a flatbed, all right, let's put it that way. So it's not something that renders the car undrivable. It's not something that, you know, that is a safety hazard. So you can live with a cracked B pillar, you can live with a dangling A pillar or a crack in the dashboard, all right. But yeah, it's a car that's great fun, all right, and you will learn a lot with your driving, right? You will improve your driving a lot. So yeah, guys, if you are looking into an E36, this is a great time to go for it. Whether you are the 6-cylinder models are the more sought after ones, but if you find a good condition 318i based on Tanas and Wise, no harm plunging into it, and yeah, give it a go. It's a properly fun car, and to be honest, right now driving this for a couple of days, even I'm tempted to get myself one. Don't tell my wife. Alright, so before we end this video, a few of you guys have been asking me on the progress of this E60 project. So thus far, this car has been sent to DNA tuning. Mike Yap has done a retune of the suspension. Alright, previously Mike has installed ST coilovers on this car, and now he has sent back for Mike to retune it. Cars also went to KL Auto to be auto foam and soundproofed. So last time I drove this car, it really feels nice and tight, okay, just the way the owner likes it. Alright, the seats, you can see here, the seats have been taken out, all the interior parts have been taken out. This all sent to DK Schweitzer, alright, for reupholstering. We have left the driver's seat as well. The driver's seat will be done last. We will also be reupholstering the steering wheel, alright. You can see that the trim parts here, these have been taken out because the owner is not quite fond of the original wood trim. He wants them refinished in carbon fiber, so we get that sorted for him. All right, and you can see that there's this car now also has an Android head unit previously installed by the owner. Okay, now we've sent it back to his installer as well to remove some bugs. So it will be, so now later on he will have access to more of his enhanced infotainment functions. So next up for this car, we are sending it to my regular paint shop, PDL Auto Works, to have the exterior repainted. And well, the door cuts and the seats have been reupholstered, done by DK Schweitzer. Later on we'll be sending the steering wheel as well as the driver's seat. Okay, the A pillar, now they are lying there, okay, because they have been reupholstered by rewrapped by preferred wheels in Glenmary. So we brought it back here. Okay, later on all this will be reinstalled back into the car, and looking forward to send this car back to its owner.
When I switched to Pro Mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro Mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less.
Turn up!